Welcome to Odds.com's big NCAA kickoff show here. Happy Saturday, December 5th to all of you. We have our experts on the panel ready to rock and roll. Up on the top right corner, DJ Big Boss in the house, coming to us live from Long Beach, California, by way of Compton, California. Big Boss, what up? How are you?
What up, Dow? Hey, man, I'm just trying to keep the fire alive, Jimmy, man. It's hard to keep the fire alive, man. We back on shutdown again.
Yeah.
Things is going the wrong direction right now. So, just trying to hold tight, stay safe, keep my hands off my face, and make some money, man.
Oh, it's great to see you. It's great to see you guys. There's all this, we're locked down up here as well. A lot of shitty stuff going on outside, but inside it's glorious, and we have college football to break down. Big Ragoo, how you doing, my man? Good morning.
Hey, I'm still stuffed from Thanksgiving, and DJ, you know what you can do with your hands, right? Put them in your bookie's pocket and take his money and hit him over the head when you're done. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Everything is a little crazy out there, but we're back in here, and we're gonna have some fun today.
Absolutely, and I love this card. John Ryan, you've been rolling, my man, hitting winners. How are you doing?
I'm getting nervous hearing all this talk about hands and what to do with them. I mean, it's I thought it was a football show, but I'm doing good, Jimmy. Really, I'm 13-3 the last 2 weeks in the gridiron, so I'm very grateful for that, and hopefully we can continue those winning ways.
Well, let's do exactly that. And you guys, there are now too many games for us to go through the entire card. So we're going to start rolling down the games. We'll start with the 12 o'clock games. We'll go down the rotation numbers. But please, if you want to move past it, we'll just skip right past it. We may spend some extra time on the very late games because we'll probably cut those out. But let's just roll through them and not feel forced to completely break down each and every one of these games. Big shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. We got Tony Hill, Sebastian Cornwell, Trot Wham, Dan Kelly, K. Paul, VIP, Nate Dog. We got Steve, Coastal Carolina quarterback out today due to COVID. Still love the over 62. Wow. Nice to get that information. Thank you for sharing that. I've tried to get as much of the late information as I possibly can. Alan Arango ready to go. Steve says, anyone here from Peter Loshak? Yes, he's in Brooklyn. He's got a great job. He's doing well. He's rolling. Pete as well. And he comes on the show once in a while. We miss him very, 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 very much. We are ready to rock and roll. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got Buck Nasty, whom Boss and I have had the pleasure of rolling with. There we have Buck Nasty in the house. Hustle Wilson ready to go. Dewan ready to eat. Cash Action Bets. Jansen Bonson. Kevin Ponich-Terra. Jansen Bonson. KD and Kyrie. Cash Action. Nilo in the house. What a great group. Nut Flush Allen. Top set. What a great group. Thank you guys all for rolling with us. We got a lot of work to do. Let's get that work. Christopher Quinlan in the play. Nate Dog. Tyrone Coleman. Okay. Kai Tay. Boogie Main. Robert. Okay, let's get to work, everybody. And again, we don't need to focus on smashing each game. If you guys want to skip and move on, feel free. That's the only way we'll be able to touch on them all. It is 7 minutes after 10 Eastern, and we want to get everybody able to get their bets in with at least 20 minutes till kickoff. Let's get to work. Thank you guys for joining us. I enjoy this enormously. Saturday morning, let's go. We're going to start with number 3 ranked Ohio State at Michigan State. Ohio State 4-0 in the Big Ten. Michigan State 2-3 in the Big Ten. Ohio State had to cancel last week due to a rise in COVID cases. We last saw them 2 weeks ago in a 42-35 win at home over Indiana. Michigan State coming off a 29-20 win at home over Northwestern. They're scoring just 18 points a game. And we have Ohio State as 23.5-point favorites. Michigan Ohio State total anywhere between 58 and 59.5, depending on where you shop. A little Big Ten action. We'll go with John Ryan, who's rolling hot right now. Anything for you here?
Not really. We just to reiterate what I said on Monday's show is that the line here doesn't seem to be enough, and it's making me scratch my head about it. My power ratings have this at -28, -29. So my gut, which I use sometimes, and not the machine learning tools all the time, says that Michigan State actually might be the play here to win the money. I'm not going to the window on it, but there's something fishy with this line, in my opinion.
Big Ragoo, Big Ten action. Anything pique your interest? Are you getting to the window on anything here?
Yeah, I'm going to the window with Ohio State first half and full game. This is going to be a big game for Ohio State. Totally focused here. They're talking if they don't get that 6th game in, there's going to be a lot of complications for this team to try to get to the playoffs. So this is going to be a game that they need to go out and impress big either way. So with Master Teague, Sermon, coming over from Oklahoma, they got a lot of nice things going in the backfield. And I think this is going to be a statement game for Ohio State today. I think they're going to look to run it up early and get a big lead. And who knows what happens in the second half, but I like them in the first half strong.
Well, Justin Fields will be in the lineup, will be on the field at the beginning of this game, so no concerns there. No, the real Jolly Roger asking about him. DJ Big Boss, anything for you here? We got Ragoo liking Ohio State early. John Ryan thinking about taking Michigan State on the full game. What about you, Big Boss?
Man, I'm bossing and saucing with that one. Big Ragoo almost took the words out of my mouth, on the media level with Ohio State. And, some of these teams are coming down to their spots, in the postseason. And Ohio State definitely, with the COVID games and all that, they got to win. They got to win impressively. They got to win all the way out. So I was looking at this game. 23 is a big number, but I would totally agree with Big Ragoo. Attacking first half, they coming out to win. They fired up, but you also got options at full game as well because they should take it to them. Michigan State, we've already proven that they're based around defense, and the offense is not really picking up over there, and the defense can't hold this Ohio State team. They never really could. So. If you had to take a bet on that one, definitely take first half Ohio State. But I'm not making it to the window, but I totally agree with Big Ragoo.
Let me add one thing here. If you look at the team total on Ohio State, it's sitting at 41.5. The total on the game is 59. So you can take it either way. If you think that Ohio State's going to cover, they're basically telling you, there's about an 18-point differential. So there's like 5 points worth of value in there. If you take the dog, if you like the Michigan State side, then you can look at it that way. But I think Ohio State is going to be the play here.
Ohio State, you can get them first half at minus 13, 13.5, 13 or 13.5, depending on where you shop. All right, let's keep rolling along. We move to Nebraska at Purdue. Nebraska 1-4 in the Big Ten. Purdue 2-3 Big Ten. If you want to follow along, we're just going to go down the rotation numbers. This is 357, 358. First half, Purdue is a half-point favorite. That comes with just minus 105 juice. Let's see what they are full game here. Full game, Purdue 1 or 1.5 point favorites. And this total is shot from 59 up to 63. Purdue coming off its third straight loss, 37-30 at home to Rutgers. Redshirt junior Aiden O'Connell will have surgery and miss the rest of the season. He sustained this injury in a 27-20 loss on November 14th. It's season ending now. Jack Plummer will start this Sunday against Nebraska. Nebraska coming off their 4th loss in 5 games, 26-20 at Iowa. They played pretty well. Why don't we start here with Big Ragoo? Anything for you, Nebraska, Purdue?
Yeah, well, Nebraska, with that ugly start, 1-4, a lot of question marks on the offensive side, especially at quarterback. They're not doing well on third downs on both sides in the Big Ten. But the line is suspect to me here. You got a -1 for Purdue sitting at home, -105 on top of that. And I got a buddy of mine who lives up in Indiana, and I talked to him last night, and he says he thinks that Purdue is going to lose this game, and it's indicative of the number, I would think. So I don't have a play either way here, but if I was to go one way, I would definitely lean the Nebraska side, even though the numbers don't indicate it, but the line shows it.
A lean to Nebraska. DJ Big Boss, any feel for you here in this Big Ten spot?
I'm going to tell you with this card today, I got a love story with a bunch of games right here. Now, I jumped into this game expecting to take Nebraska because Nebraska was highly touted at the beginning of the season. They trying to turn things around. Here they come with like an equal play level playing Purdue, option for them to win right here. But when I drew up the numbers was all lopsided. Looked like Purdue could win this game. And then when you go back, like Big Ragoo said, and you look at the number, so you got to always remember the home team gets 3 just for being at home. So the number is already leaning towards Nebraska anyway. But the play on the field numbers don't add up to taking them and putting my money on it in this spot.
Yeah, I actually my power ratings have Nebraska as a 3-point favorite.
John Ryan, Nebraska, Purdue. Anything for you?
I got a play on the under. These teams are looking to end some modest losing streaks. Purdue's lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4 in a row to the spread. Nebraska, after beating Penn State for their only win. How ironic is that? They beat them 30-23. They've now lost 2 in a row, but they did cover in their last game against Iowa. So when you look at those kind of trends, Nebraska, as the Bigg Ragoo just pointed out, is playing better, and on paper is probably the better team. But teams in the Big Ten, when they're on losing streaks, I think generally go to focusing on defense and winning the battle at the line of scrimmage on both sides. So this system actually supports that notion, and it's hit 69% winners since 2000. Playing under the total with road teams, in this case Nebraska, between 56 and 63 points off a road cover where the team lost as an underdog. And that's it. That's gone 77 and 33 with 2 pushes since 2000 for 69% winning bets.
And you get to go against this big market move, which I know you like doing this time of year. Interesting. Let me just pop up exactly where the money is quickly, and then we'll move on past this game here. But an interesting look on the under here, and the over has 80% of the cash and 67% of the tickets, and it's moved up to 63. Very, very, very interesting under there from John Ryan. Nebraska, Purdue, that's up to 63 from a 59 opener at Bet365. Let's move on to Penn State at Rutgers. This was a fun game that we broke down on our Monday show with John Ryan on Penn State. We had Connor Mack on Rutgers. Penn State opening up at -10. They're now -11.5. We're in Piscataway, New Jersey, 46 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Penn State coming off their first win of the year, 27-17 at Michigan. Rutgers put an end to their 4-game losing streak with a 37-30 win at Purdue. Noah Vidral is questionable to play. He sustained an injury in the 48-42 triple overtime loss to Michigan back on November 21st. He warmed up against Purdue, but was wincing in pain, ruled him out. Sikowski came in, and Sikowski played well enough. Johnny Langan also, was in there as well in that 37-30 upset of the Boilermakers. Let's go first to John Ryan here. John, you still want to back Penn State here?
Yeah, even more so than I did on Monday. I'm just pulling up my info here real quick. But Penn State's ground attack has gained over 250 yards in 2 of the last 3 games. They've outstatted 4 of their 5 opponents. The only one they didn't outstat was Ohio State, and rarely does anybody outstat them these days. So this is probably a situation being on the road and playing somewhat of a rival with Rutgers. I mean, it hasn't been a passionate one, but now that Rutgers has had all the transfers come in, and even though Vidral is questionable for today's game, that backup whose name escapes me, starts with an S, he was pretty impressive in the film I saw. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a downgrade if he doesn't start. But the whole matchup here, and why I like Penn State so much, is Rutgers cannot stop the run, and that's just the way it goes. And I have my rankings here real quick. Rutgers ranks 75th in the nation. I'm sorry, they rank 88th, allowing rushes per game. So teams run against them a lot. 54% of opponents' plays have been the rush. Very unusual in college football. They rank 70th, allowing 175 rushing yards per game. Penn State averages 158, but like I said, 2 of the last 3 games have been 250-plus yards. And last week, against a pretty good Michigan defensive front, that's a dysfunctional child out there in the Midwest, but still 250 rushing yards against them. So I got to believe that they're going to gain at least 300, and I'll go on record as saying that because that's what the machine learning tells me. And that just puts Penn State in a very high probability to cover the spread.
Interesting breakdown. DJ Big Boss, anything for you here, Penn State Rutgers?
Man, I love John Ryan so much, but guess what? I'm on the other side again right here. When I looked at the numbers in this one, I seen it the same way that John Ryan seen it on paper, but in reality, let's go to reality and what happens on the field. This Rutgers team is composed of a lot of transfers that they got from other schools. This was something that we knew at the beginning of the season, and guess what? These transfers are working out for them. They 4-2 right now. I really didn't understand the large gap between them and Penn State. Now, are we going to take all our marbles and put them in the Penn State bag for what, the fourth time in a row and come up with nothing again? It's just another team that looks good on paper, but not getting it done on the field. And I think the camaraderie of these people coming from different places on this Rutgers team could come together at this point in the season and start to gain momentum to keep going. And this Penn State one could be a nice chip to put on their shoulder with everybody expecting Penn State to come out here. Put Penn State on upset alert for sure. I think the numbers going the wrong way.
Ooh, interesting. A Bigg Ragoo, can you break the stalemate?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm passing either way, but I'll throw the information out there. So to agree with John on what Penn State does well is they do move the football. They do run the football well. And surprisingly enough, Rutgers, they can score points too. And so my question to everybody would be, what do you think that Penn State's defense is going to do with Rutgers here? So do we looking at it over? Because you look at the opening number on the total, I think it opened up at 57. It's down to 52, but now opened up at 9.5. Now Rutgers hitting 12.5 in spots here. So I think it's going to be a competitive game. I don't think that Penn State's going to run away with it, but I'm not going to back. I'm not going to back them either because there's too many question marks for me with these guys on the defensive side and matching up with Rutgers offense. So the numbers are very similar on the defensive side. Penn State does favor a little bit better on the defense, but I think they yield too much going the other way. So I would tend to lean towards the over, if anything. I think there's good value in that number at 52. I think it gets above 52, but I'm not going to play it, but I like the 52 over.
Yeah, it feels like it's not too low.
Jimmy, I'm guessing that Rutgers team total is probably around 21, and I'm wondering if Bigg Ragoo would play over with that because that made a lot of sense while he was talking too.
Yeah, I'll look into that definitely.
Just see if I
mean, they're putting up about 30 a game, and Penn State is, what are they giving up per game here? They're giving up like 30. They're giving up 32 points a game. So that's right in line with what Rutgers has got going on. So
that's where I seen it close too. That's where I seen the big differential because Rutgers is giving up 35 and Penn State giving up 32, and then on the offensive side, Penn State is putting up 25 and Rutgers is putting up 30. So it's just way lopsided to be laying 12 points with a team like Penn State. I think the chat had it right. Check out the chat. The chat know what's up.
Yeah, they're all over Rutgers.
Hey, and shout out to the chat. I see a lot of my guys, Bug Nasty, OG Wham, a lot of the West Coast guys up early with me this morning.
Man. Early.
It's 7:22, man. I appreciate y'all jumping in with us.
You gotta wake up to get your cake up.
Yeah, man. Hustle Wilson up too. First in the chat.
Oh, look at that. Bigg Ragoo got an old pimp line. Gotta wake up to get your cake up. That's what you used to tell them back in the day in Brooklyn.
Right, okay, let's move on to the little Conference USA game. We don't need to spend too much time on it if we don't want to. Rice at number 15th ranked Marshall. Rice 1-2 in the Conference USA. Only 3 games played all season due to COVID issues. At Marshall 7-0, 4-0 in conference. Rice coming off 27-17 loss in North Texas. Marshall has won every game all year by double digits. They're winning by an average of 27.3 points per game. They're allowing just 10.1 points per game. They were 23.5-point favorites at the Bet365 opener. That's come down to 22. This total is at 45. Bigg Ragoo, anything for you here, Rice, Marshall?
Yeah, that's a big number for Marshall. Rice slightly, they haven't been played a whole lot. I think when they play like 4 games this season so far. So I don't know. It's a big number. I was telling my buddies that I did like Marshall in this spot. I'm not crazy about the 23, 22.5, whatever the heck it is right now. But I would lean Marshall in this spot because their defense is like one of the best in NCAA right now. I mean, I think they're giving up like 10 points a game. And on the ground, good luck trying to run against this team because they're shutting the run down. So I think maybe a couple turnovers and Rice, not being able to. They're definitely a run-first team, but I think Marshall can put the ball up. They can run it. They're a well-balanced team, but are they 23 points better? I took them. I went to the window with them. I just had a good feeling about this game. It's just this is more of a hunch play for me versus numbers that are showing, because I actually have Rice. I know I'm going to be contrarian on this because I think a lot of the money's coming in on Rice here, but I already went to the window with Marshall minus 23 points.
Wow, interesting. Getting to the window here. Let's just see where the cash is. If I can find it. It's going to take me a second here. DJ Big Boss, what do you think of Ragoo backing Marshall?
Man, this is crazy. I must be dipped in the sauce because right here, I see it the same way he's seen it. When I seen this game, I actually was doing some little research at this point what teams were playing the best defense, and Marshall popped up. And then I even went further to see who was playing the best run defense. Again, Marshall popped up. So just like Big Ragoo said, if you try to run against us, you can forget about it. They're giving up 61 on the ground a game. They're giving up 275 total in the game. And they're doing 22 sacks. The small side to it is, though, they only have 4 interceptions for the season. And that kind of scares me. This is their 7th. This is going to be their 8th game. They only got 4 interceptions, so they're not causing too many turnovers. And this Rice team is also composed of a bunch of transfers as well. But these guys didn't fall out as good as they thought. But I don't see them being able to score too much on Marshall. And I think that's how we get over that number, Big Ragoo, is because they're probably going to –
22 now, so I should have waited because I'll be honest, I did play it a little earlier in the week too. Because I thought it was going to go the other way, so I guess wrong here. But it is what it is, and like you say, there are 22s out there if you want to back them. But that's why I say I know it's showing 60-40 on the money with Marshall now, but I think early in the week, the stronger money was coming in on Rice.
But I'm gonna tell you, I also saw it to the under as well because I think this game's gonna come out to like 27-6 or 27-0 up in there, and that's why I was kind of hesitant to lay it with Marshall. But I don't know. We're getting towards the end of the season. Marshall's at home; they might run it up a little bit, so that leans in our favor right there. So I love that play right there. I think I'm gonna drop that in my little morning teaser and tease that down a little bit. But also, I like the under in that as well. If I had to take it straight up, I go on the underside. Because Marshall's going to play defense. So do you think Marshall's going to score 45 points? The offense kind of struggles. At the peaks, it scores like 30 points. So if we're looking at a 30-6 game, maybe even 30-10 or something, but Marshall in the under.
The total hasn't moved, sitting at 45. The Marshall first half is 13 or 13.5. John Ryan, anything for you here, Rice, Marshall?
Well, the one thing I'm going to watch in this game is you're right about the defense of Marshall being so good, but it's dominated by the run only. They're allowing 10 points per game. They're allowing 2.4 yards per carry, but they're allowing 62% completion and 63% overall. I'm sorry, 63% in home games pass completion. So what does Rice do? Rice is definitely a run-first team. But in this particular year, and granted it's only 3 games, they've actually completed an average of 62% of their passes and gaining 9.3 passing yards per attempt. So I think that little matchup there is going to be really interesting to see. I'm off the game, but I certainly will be interested to see what happens with Rice, because if they actually are able to move the ball through the air, then that makes them, they'll be on my radar for next week.
Understandably so. All right, well, let's move on to number 19, Oklahoma State at TCU. Oklahoma State opening up as 1.5-point favorites. That moves to 2.5. This total opened up at 53. Now you can get it at 51.5 or 52. Cowboys defense has looked leaky in back-to-back games. They're 6-2, 5-2 in the Big Ten. TCU 4-4 in the Big 12. After losing badly to Oklahoma 41-13, the Oklahoma State Cowboys bounced back with a 50-44 win over Texas Tech. And the opposite for TCU, after scoring just 6 points at West Virginia, they bounced back for a huge offensive explosion against a very weak Kansas squad. TCU here, very slight home dogs. John Ryan, any interest?
I would put a lean for those that are in the chat room on Oklahoma State. I think they bounced back here. TCU is not the TCU we've seen in years past. Let's see. Oklahoma State is in a trend for the under as well, 25-10 to the under in road games versus teams that are what I call mistake prone and averaging 65 or more penalty yards per game, that's quite a bit. And that works against TCU. Oklahoma State is 32-11-1 after scoring 50 points or more in their last game in games played since 2000. So I think there's a lean for me here on Oklahoma State.
Lean towards Oklahoma State. DJ Big Boss, anything for you, my man?
Hey, I'm agreeing with John Ryan on this one with the Oklahoma State. The thing about this TCU team right here is they've done well. You know, they're 5-3 ATS. So these guys are been beating some lines and stuff. But this Oklahoma State team might just be too much. Looks like from the last 5 games that they crumble when they play good defenses. So when they played West Virginia, they barely put up 6 points. And then believe it or not, when I was doing my defensive research, Oklahoma ranked pretty high on defense, and they also lost to them, only put 2 touchdowns up against them. So looks like they scared of real defense, and I back Oklahoma State. They come to play defense every game.
John leaning towards Oklahoma State. Big Boss wanting to move on Oklahoma State. They're still under that 3-point threshold. Ragoo, anything for you here?
This is going to be between the sidelines. This game is going to be all about the sidelines with the 2 great coaches. So you got the 2 longest tenured coaches outside of Ferenz. You got Gundy and Patterson. They know each other well. That's why the numbers where it's at. Talent-wise, like DJ says, you know, we expected Oklahoma State to have the number 1 defense in the Big 12 this year, but the last 3 games they've kind of gave up some points. I think they've given up like 40 points a game. So, you know, that defense needs to show back up. I think TCU is going to bring their defense, and I know Duggan is, you know, the offense around him, the sophomore quarterback for TCU, so they're going to have to try to spy him and try to, you know, contain him, you know, getting outside, making some plays, and you know, keep the option at a minimum. So we'll see which Oklahoma State team shows up. If it's the one that was starting out early in the season, they get it done. Even though they're going to be a little short on the running back. You know, Hubbard's gone. So Jackson stepped in nicely for him, and I think you guys are on the right side with Oak State. I think they kind of get up for this game and keep it close, but then at the end they kind of pull away. They win by at least a touchdown.
Let's move over to Kansas, Texas Tech here. Texas Tech opening up as 27-point favorites. That's moved down to 26.5, 25.5. We've seen that in Kansas games. I don't know. People, and I've made the mistake, I haven't in a month or so, but believing that these spreads are too big and that Kansas will show some fight, and week in and week out, Kansas gets destroyed. This total opening up at Bet365 is 65, is now 63.5. Kansas 0-8, 0-7 in the Big 12. Texas Tech 3-6, 2-6 Big 12. 2 awful defenses meet up. Head coach Matt Wells will not be on the sideline. We've got COVID-19, so Tech coach not going to be there. Texas Tech coming off 50-44 loss at Oklahoma State. While they allow 39.3 points per game, 470.6 yards per game, which is similar numbers to Kansas, they score and Kansas doesn't. Texas Tech scores 30.6 points per game, picks up 431.7 yards a game, whereas Kansas allows 49.8 points per game. They score just 16.1. They allow 465.4 yards. They only pick up 264.9. Big 12 action. John Ryan, anything for you here, Kansas, Texas Tech?
Well, does anybody remember the last time Kansas won? It was Texas Tech last year, and they beat Texas Tech 37-34 as a 6.5-point home favorite. The key term here is 6.5 points because we're not 6.5 points now. We're like 27, is it? So yeah, a totally different game. The year before that, Texas Tech was playing at home as a 19-point favorite and defeated them 48-16. Margin of 32 and easily covering the spread. I think that's what's going to happen here again. It's unbelievable that Kansas, all their games have gone over despite having that pathetic, anemic, I'll call it anemic offense instead of pathetic. And the defense, that reflects that the defense is equally as bad. The only thing that can go wrong here is Texas Tech walks in, a bit sleepwalking or maybe even a little hungover and figure the game is won before it's fought, and that's always a bad thing. But at the end of the day, Texas Tech could score 35.5 against these guys if they really wanted to.
They could. Big Boss, Kansas, Texas Tech, any interest for you?
Nah, leave old Les Miles alone. I've been preaching that for a long time, but I don't know. When line setters set these lines, they try to peak it right to where you think, oh, this is gonna be the one that I'm cover with Kansas. So I don't know. You can't believe that, but if you look at this game on paper, Texas Tech's look horrible on defense, but Texas Tech played some big games that scored a lot of points and all that kind of stuff. But it shows right here they're giving up 275 in the air, 194 on the ground, and Kansas defense is not even that bad, So Kansas defense is over here giving up. What does it say here?
They're not bad. They're horrible.
But on paper they're only giving up 236 in the air and 229 on the ground. So they do give it up on the ground, but I guess they can play in the air a little bit. But I would suggest this game the total might go over it. Like John Ryan said, Kansas might score, but I don't expect them to win nor cover. So I would either go over or go ahead and take Texas Tech.
This total has dropped a little bit from its 65 opener at Bet365. Ragoo, anything for you here in Big 12?
Yeah, it's over a pass for me. 50 points a game they're giving up, Kansas. Last few, and their average loss is like by 34 points. So I mean, if you're on the Texas Tech side, that looks good for you. But my concern here would be, which Texas Tech team is going to show up on the defensive side? We know they're going to score points. They lost a tough one last week to Oak State, 50-44. So, and like John says, all their games have been overs. So, I mean, I don't see any other way to play this other than, over the total. And you might get a little value. 62 is an uphill climb, but I can see like a 45-20 or, 49 to, 17, something like that to put you over. So, I don't know. I would lean over. I'm not going to get on it, though.
A lean towards the over. A question about what is Texas Tech's team total. I'm not getting them. They're not. Bet365 very uncomfortable about putting these out at this point. I don't have one printed to the city. All right, let's move to our first little spot of Maction. Toledo 2-2 in the MAC. Northern Illinois. We knew they had 63 or something like that freshmen on their opening day roster, and it's showing they're 0-4. Northern Illinois coming off its fourth straight loss, 30-27 at Western Michigan. Toledo coming off a 27-24 loss at home to Ball State. Little Maction here. Why don't we start with Big Ragoo? Any interest for you in the MAC in this spot?
No, I'm going to pass on here. But an interesting note here, like Northern Illinois has won 8 out of the last 10 outright in this matchup. And the Rockets, they definitely struggle to run the ball on the road for some reason, and they give up a lot through the air. So the Huskies have even worse numbers, defending that. But this is a game I really don't want any part of. So if you follow the money and you follow the trends, it looks like Northern Illinois is the side.
Interesting. Northern Illinois, 10-point home dogs. Big Boss, any interest in this MAC spot?
This one right here could be looked at as a bum fight. And the rules of the bum fight. Take the home team plus 10 right here. I'll jump on Northern Illinois if I took it, but I'm off this game.
John Ryan, any interest for you?
I like Toledo. Let's see. The system I have in front of me is you're playing on double-digit road favorites in the MAC. Since 2011 have gone 52-22 to the number for 70% winners, covering by an average of 7 points per game. So for that reason alone, I like Toledo to take care of business here. The one other thing that doesn't make this like a really big bet for me is that Northern Illinois has played the bulk of their schedule against the better teams in the conference, so their strength of schedule is much higher than Toledo's strength of schedule. But still, at the end of the day, I think Toledo wins this by 17 to 24 points.
Interesting. All right, let's move over to the SEC. We have number 5th-ranked Texas A&M at Auburn. Texas A&M 6-1, all their games played in the SEC. Same with Auburn, all their games played in the SEC, sitting at 5-3. Texas A&M opening up a 6.5-point favorites. Let's move to 6. There is a 5.5 on the board. The total opened at 50.5. It's down to 48.5. Since losing at Alabama 52-24, Texas A&M has won 5 straight, coming off a 20-7 win at home over LSU. It was a rainy night, but their offense looked sloppy. I cashed the first half, but it was not a comfortable casher. Auburn coming off a 42-13 loss at Alabama. A sophomore running back, DJ Williams, will not play due to a lower body injury. He was injured during Saturday's loss to Alabama, didn't practice all week. So that means that Auburn could potentially be down 2 running backs for the matchup because a freshman, Tank Bigsby, is day-to-day as he has this lingering hip injury. So it's possible that Auburn goes into this game without 2 important running backs. John Ryan, Texas A&M, Auburn, SEC action, anything for you?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I would be careful betting Texas A&M and figuring that they're number 5 in the nation or whatever rank they are, and they're just going to blow out Auburn. Auburn has been very good under head coach Gus Malzahn as a home dog. You don't have to go any further than last year against Alabama, for example, to see that. In fact, he is undefeated as a home dog of 4 or more points. And in this game, he obviously is. Texas A&M's defense, Jimbo Fisher came from Florida State, where he had one of the best defensive units year in and year out when the Seminoles were a contender back then. I miss those days. But he's taken that program and made Texas A&M into a very good front 5, front 7. They're allowing 2.4 yards per rush. But Auburn, at home, as a dog, has done very well against these types of teams. So when they have faced a team that is allowing 120 or fewer yards per game, they are 27, 12, and 1 to the number in that situation. They're 16-4 with 1 push after having covered the spread in 3 of the last 4 games. And we're all focused on the loss to Alabama, but prior to that, they were actually playing their best football of the season. And actually, Bo Nix was starting to look like the Bo Nix that we thought he was in the preseason. So I would be very careful, assuming that A&M is just going to blow them off the field, because I have a gut feeling this could be one of those upsets today.
Interesting. Big boss, A&M, Auburn.
I hate everything about this game right here. Initially, I wanted to jump on Texas A&M because I like their defense. I like what they're doing over there. But a lot to some of the points that John Ryan just mentioned. This Auburn team can be sneaky right here. I really don't like the number more than anything with Texas A&M. I think the number between these two should be a field goal. They're very similar in a lot of ways. I don't see them outclassing each other. This is a fair battle right here, and they're giving the home team plus 6.5. Now, as much as I hate to take Auburn because I like Texas A&M, if I had to get to the window with this, I must take Auburn. Home dog, getting points in the SEC. This is where things can happen.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way as well. It sure was an underwhelming victory that I watched over a weak LSU squad. Ragoo, anything for you here in A&M Auburn?
Yeah, to speak on John's words, is Texas A&M, quietly the best top 5 team in college football? That remains to be seen. But Kelly Mond has had his moments for them, and I think you're going to see a lot of Spiller to try to pound the rock and get between the tackles, maybe bounce it outside a little bit to get some yardage to kind of keep that tough Auburn D a little off balance possibly, but. With Nix, you get him, you kind of keep him in the pocket. He kind of underperforms a little bit. He's better when he gets outside the pocket. But this is definitely a game that's going to be on the defensive front on both ends. Both teams are yielding about 24 points to the number there. And I think A&M has a little bit of talent. And like you said, with Auburn missing some pieces in the backfield, that's going to put a lot of pressure back on Nix to make some things, happen, beyond the line, downfield a little bit possibly. But Malzahn, he likes to run a little bit of a pace too. So I don't know how he's going to be equipped to do that. He's like a 75 plays per game, where Jimbo is more of a traditional, methodical type play. So, but I think it's going to fall back on the defenses. And my first thought when I looked at it, this game had underwritten all over it. And I know that number is ticked down about a point. So I think there's still maybe some value there in that number. It's going to be close, but I would lean under the 48.5.
If there was still a 50 on the board, I'd probably go under it, but that seems like a tight line.
It's tight. I mean, I can make a case for both sides, with Auburn to cover it, and same thing for A&M. But to me, it has all the feel of an under. But like you are right, I would say 50 would definitely be a lot more comfortable. 48 is going to be real close. 24 points apiece. That's right there. So you're going to need a shutdown type of game where they're not going to, red zone opportunity is going to have to be missed. And if they go to overtime, who the hell knows what happens there?
Jimmy, I think it's going to be a game where the first team to hit 28 is going to, my pivot points at 28 really come up on this game. And literally first team to score 28 is going to win. So for an in-game bet, if one of these teams does get up there to 24-25 in the third quarter, I think betting them is actually going to be a winning bet as well. And Malzahn, by the way, as a home dog, scoring 27 or more points is a perfect 6-0.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Good info.
I have some interest in Auburn. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window. Dommy Gunn now says, for me, it's Auburn plus 6.5 if he had to play aside. Let's go back to the Big 12 here for Texas, Kansas State. Great call from John Ryan to get us on Kansas State against Baylor. They did lose straight up, but we covered. They were 4.5-point dogs. Their fourth straight loss for Kansas State, 32-31 at Baylor. Texas had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 23-28 loss at home to Iowa State. You guys were all on Iowa State, and it was a nice catcher for all of you guys. Junior running back Keontae Ingram is opting out for the remainder of the season, and he will not be, obviously, in the lineup. Texas opening up a 7.5-point favorites. That hasn't moved. The total opened up at 53.5, and it's down to 51. DJ, Big Boss, any interest in the Longhorns here at Kansas State?
Man, I am not riding this Texas rodeo no more. They worse than Texas Tech with which team is going to show up. Is it going to be the offensive team, the defensive team? Is it going to be a shootout? This game is all over the place, man. And Kansas State don't make it no better with the performance that they've been doing on the field lately. I'm off this game.
Big Ragoo, Texas, Kansas State, anything for you?
No. I'm not going to get involved, but there are some interesting stats here with the K-State D. They're ranked like 111th on third down, and then also they're very run heavy, so they're not going through the air very well, and they're not running the ball very well. They're running like at a 66% clip, and 34 attempts per game. So they're ranked they're ranked 103rd with 34 attempts. So if they're running the ball a lot and they're ranked 103rd in attempts, that tells me they're going nowhere fast. So it's either Texas or pass here for me.
John Ryan, any feel for you here on this Texas Kansas State spot?
The line was 10, and then the left tackle, as you mentioned, Samuel Cosme left, and then the safety left, and then I think a running back also left, Keontae Ingram.
Yeah.
And then Herman, the head coach, has to put up with Urban Meyer being interviewed on campus. Now, obviously, he was not in Austin for this, but that's the talk coming out of Austin, that Herman's going to be gone, and Urban Meyer, who said he would never coach again, is going to give it another shot. So, you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old young men here with, complete chaos around the program. So as much as I'd be tempted to take Texas to show some good old-fashioned Texan moxie and kick the crap out of somebody, I just can't trust it.
Yeah, understandably so. Let's move over to the American. We got Memphis, Tulane. Memphis coming up their third straight win, surprisingly low-scoring 10-7 win at Navy. Tulsa had their 3-game winning streak snapped Tulane, had their 3-game winning streak snapped in 30-24, double overtime loss at Tulsa. Let's see what we are dealing with. Tulane opening up as 1.5-point favorites. That's shot up to 3. And this total has been around 63.5 all week long. let's go over to Ragoo. Memphis, Tulane. You have a move to make here?
Yeah, I would look Tulane and over in this spot. Both teams could score. Memphis is putting up about 33 points a game, and they're allowing them close to that many, about 30 points a game. I think the Green Wave has been close to like 36, 37 points a game, and they allow close to 30. So I would think this has all the writings of a dead over in this spot. I got Tulane winning this game 35-31.
35-31 for Tulane. And that would clear the total by 3 or 2.5 points. The leading indicator books have moved this to 63.5. Big Boss, what do we do here with Memphis, Tulane, and what do we take? How much consideration should we give that real low-scoring win over Navy last out for Memphis?
None at all, man. And I don't know. I think Big Ragoo is stalking my thoughts, man, because all I could think in this game right here was over. And when I was doing my analysis on teams that, score a lot of points or high in passing, all that good stuff, Memphis was binging in there a lot. So I got Memphis on my over radar, and here's one of those spots where you can get them and take them over.
John Ryan, Memphis, Tulane.
I would be on the over too. I'm going to pass on the game, though, and I really don't have anything more to add to support the overplay, but that would be my lean.
Let's let our man C.T. Bays lean us into this Arkansas-Missouri spot. He's on the dog Arkansas on the money line. They opened up as 3-point dogs. They're now 2.5. The leading indicator books still have them as 3-point dogs. This total opened up at 50.5, 53.5. We're at a Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri, 44 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 9 miles per hour. I have an asterisk here to the under, and I believe this was John Ryan's move here. I don't have detailed notes on it, but it was John's game and John's breakdown on Monday, and then I have an asterisk to the under, so I don't know if that's John or Noli. Arkansas coming off their second straight loss, 27-24 home to LSU. Missouri coming off their fourth win in 5 games, a 41-0 home beatdown of Vanderbilt. John, this was your game on Monday. Did you get to the window, and do you plan on getting to the window on that spot?
I did take the under 50%, and I'm leaving the other half for in-game. Sometimes these SEC teams can start out very quick, and then the pace of play begins to slow down to a grind, and the second half can be a complete mirror opposite of the first half. So that's how I'm playing it. And I believe it was backed by this system, too, I mentioned on Monday. You're going to play under with any team that is averaging 8.3 or more yards per pass attempt and is facing a equally solid passing team averaging just a little bit less than that at 7.5 to 8.3. And with the game taking place after 7 games or more have been played. So basically after week 7, after game number 7, that under passing team averaging more than 8.3 and the opponent averaging at least 7.5, but not higher than 8.3. And there you go. That's gone 65% winners over the last 5 seasons.
Interesting. Another spot. John going against the market in the Nebraska under, now going to do the same thing in Arkansas, Missouri. Big Boss, what do you think of that?
I think this right here is a spot that I'm going to stay off right here. I'm kind of looking more into keeping my eye on Arkansas for next year. I like some of I like the morale change. I like some of the things that the coach is doing over there. Just all haven't came together yet. But this one right here, it's a low line, more of an even matchup for them. But we don't know what we're going to get. The seed has been planted on this team, and they're just going to work their way out the season. I think at this point, they're already looking forward to next season. So I'm off this game.
Ragoo, anything for you here in the SEC?
It's lean Missouri. I just like the way that the Missouri defense is playing. They've got the number 1 pass defense in the SEC. And they're 4-1 the last 5 games, but they're only lost, to the Gators. And the concern for me on Arkansas is they lose their running back, their star running back. Boyd, he's out. He's opted out for the rest of the season. He got hurt, and he's going to declare himself for the draft. So they're just going to have to rely on Traylon Smith to carry the load. So I think it's going to be a little bit much for Arkansas to kind of put everything on the one back. I'm sure they got a backup that's going to come in for them. But with the Missouri's defense, I think the under is probably the right play too, to kind of tighten things up there underneath for Missouri. Missouri is an underrated squad. I think it's Missouri a pass, but I would say you could lay the 3 at home with Missouri. 2.5s are on the board. I know it ticked down some spots, but I would say lean Missouri at home -2.5.
The last game on the 12 p.m. card is a Western Carolina, North Carolina. North Carolina 48 or 49 point favorites. Is anybody making a move on this spot, or do we just blow past the list?
I have nothing.
All right, we're going to go back to the MAC here for 2 spots. We'll start with this, as our DJ Big Boss would call it, bum fight, Bowling Green, Akron. Akron, a wild spot here where Akron is favored for the first time in a long time. 3-point favorites. This total opened up at 57.5, now 55.5. Bowling Green coming off 52-10 loss at Ohio. Akron coming off 38-7 loss at Miami of Ohio. I know that you were interested just from a storyline standpoint, John, with Akron being favored here. Do you have any interest in betting this game, John?
I don't, but I really want to watch it. Maybe I'm a masochist because I feel good because I said that Akron would possibly be favored in one game for the first time in a while, and I just wanted to refresh my memory when that was. Just give me 1 second here, if you don't mind, and I'll give us some enlightening stuff here.
Sure.
Akron, the last time they were favored was actually it was September 28th, 2019. They were 6.5-point favorites against Massachusetts. But they were favored by 6 in 2018 against Bowling Green and lost the game 21-6. They were favored in 2018 a second time in Central Michigan and covered a 5.5-point spread, winning the game 17-10. And I'll do one more. Back the third time in 2018, Miami of Ohio, they were 3.5-point home favorites and got crushed 41-17. So you can see the tendency here when they're favored. Just going back here to 2017, they're 6. They're 1-6 against the number as a favorite going back to 2017. So that alone, I don't know. I mean, you don't bet this game. I mean, how in the world could you even put $10 on this game? But for me, it's definitely worth at least 2 or 3 IPAs instead of the $10.
There were some cheap IPAs.
I'm a big spender with those.
Big Boss, any interest here in this bum fight?
Bum fights and forget it, man. If I had to do it, I'm gonna take the zips. Give me a zip of that right there, But I hate Bowling Green. That's the problem. This is personal for me. I hate Van Gorner over there, the defensive coordinator. He messed up Notre Dame for quite a bit of time. So he does the same thing. He blitzes way too much, and he doesn't cover. He doesn't cover in the backfield. I guess he has the wrong secondary for the blitz or whatever, but I'm always looking for a chance to stump my foot in Bowling Green's face, and this one I'm gonna take the Akron Zips just for a little bit, nothing major, maybe $9.99 just so I don't get John Ryan mad.
Ragoo, any interest for you?
It's 0-22 for the Zips, the last 22. Write that down.
And they covered 1.
Yeah, so both of these teams are ranked like 124, 125. They're horrible. We know that. Bowling Green's giving up 339 yards a game on the ground, but they're averaging 6.6 against the Falcons are giving up 6.5 yards a carry and 14 rushing touchdowns in the last 4. So not saying much either way for both of these teams. So both team average lose by 38 points a game. What else can I say about that, right? But I think the better running backs are on Bowling Green, so I would lean Bowling Green and take that money line if you're going to play it.
So to stay in the MAC here, we got Ball State, Central Michigan. Ball State 3-1 in the MAC. Central Michigan 3-1 in the MAC, and Central Michigan opened as 1.5-point favorites. They're now 2.5-point dogs. This total opened up at 61. It's up to 62.5 or 63. Ball State coming up third straight win, 27-24 at Toledo. Senior running back Caleb Huntley is day-to-day. And missed last Saturday's game against Toledo. Ty Evans filled in and rushed for 101 yards, but Huntley, 437 yards, 6 touchdowns, 80 carries so far this year. A big piece of this offense for Ball State that averages 32 points per game. Central Michigan bounced back from 52-44 loss at home to Western Michigan by beating Eastern Michigan 31-23, and that was, I believe, like a 25-3. They outscored them in the fourth quarter to get the W in that spot here. We don't need to spend too long. We got big games coming up, but Ragoo, anything for you, Ball State, Central Michigan?
Central Michigan for me. The Visitors won 3 straight, and as my buddy Avery would say, Testicle State is in trouble today.
Testicle State in trouble.
State.
Big Boss, any interest for you?
I kind of missed my MAC overs. They've been hitting, and I forgot all about them from last year, so a little too late to jump on the MAC overs. But I would take this over if I were to play it.
John Ryan, anything for you?
Well, the line implies a final score of 33-30, both teams scoring more than 28. And just real quick, Central Michigan's 11-1 against the number when they score 28 or more points, 80-26 last 10 years. And when Ball State allows 28, they're 4-13 the last 3 years and 42-101 the last 10 years. So lean to the Central Michigan team and that good young quarterback.
I lean towards Central Michigan here, and the market's moved quickly over to Ball State in this spot. Let's stay in the MAC for one more. We have Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. Eastern Michigan 0-4 in the MAC. Western Michigan 4-0 in the MAC. Western Michigan opening up as 13-point favorites. That's moved to 13.5, and the total in this spot went from 65 to 66. Eastern Michigan coming off 4 straight loss to start the year, 31-23. Home to Central Michigan. That's what I was saying. They were up 20-6 going into the fourth quarter. Western Michigan coming off a closer than expected 30-27 win at home over Northern Illinois. Senior defensive end Ali Fayad is questionable. He has an undisclosed injury, and he's a big piece. So he was injured on November 11th. He's missed each of the last 2 games, and their defense has taken a big hit because of it. But a redshirt senior running back, Jackson Kincaid, is fully healthy and will be good to go for Western Michigan. Why don't we stay over with Ragoo, and we don't need to spend too much time here on these matches.
It's Western Michigan to pass. Better offense. They probably got the best offense in the MAC. Eskridge is a solid ball player. He's got like 6 TDs, and Preston Hutchinson is trying to. He's playing pretty decent overall. They got a good secondary. So, you got undefeated versus the defeated team, 4-0 versus 0-4. The number's a little stretched out at 13.5. All the money seems to be coming on Western Michigan, but it hasn't moved up a ton. So it's probably a low-action game, not a game that you really want to get involved with as far as the numbers concerned. But just for entertainment value, I think I lean Western Michigan.
Big Boss, any interest for you?
MAC over for me if I were to play it.
John Ryan?
Double-digit favorite in the MAC. Got to go with it.
Do you think you will get to the window on it?
No, it's just I do think if somebody plays that consistently over the course of time, you're going to be happy.
Agreed. Okay, let's go to Troy, South Alabama. This was Noli Nose's best bet on the Saturday card. By the way, his best bet on the Thursday Friday card was Utah State Air Force under, and that went under. John Ryan's best bet was Air Force minus 10.5, and that cashed as well. Troy, South Alabama under, and I pulled the trigger on it. I got under 53 at minus 105. Had I waited, I would have got a better number. It's moved to 54.5. John Ryan was also interested in South Alabama, but wanted more info. And because this market was moving towards Troy, and we had to figure out exactly why that was, and we figured that out now. Troy, though, opening up as 1.5-point favorites, now 4-point favorites, is total up to 54.5. And the issue is Desmond Trotter. So he's day-to-day, and he got hurt in the last game. We'll get there. Let's start with Troy, though. coming off third straight loss, 47-10 at App State. They were down 28-0 after the first play of the second quarter, outgained 554-231. And it's seniors night for South Alabama. They're coming off snapping their 4-game losing streak with 38-31 win at Arkansas State. We were on South Alabama in that spot, but Desmond Trotter, day to day, he had completed 60 and 22 passes for 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions in that road win over Arkansas State. But he got hurt, and Tanner McGee came in, and Tanner McGee was the one who threw that game-winning touchdown there. So that is the issue. McGee ended up 6 for 8 for 145 yards. He looked good. So, John Ryan, you wanted more information on South Alabama before you moved on them. The more information is we don't know if Desmond Trotter is going to be playing here. Has that moved you in a direction to make a bet here, John?
Well, I think that he's listed questionable, and how I look at this, the line's already moved, so the market reflects everything we know right now about the situation. Obviously, if he plays, the line probably comes back down to 3.5, maybe a little bit lower. So I'm very tempted to take South Alabama here for a little bit. Troy's lost 3 in a row. They're coming off a 47-10, beat down to Appalachian State as 14-point dogs, and that puts them into a really nice system here, where you're going to play against a team like Troy in a game involving 2 average defensive teams that are allowing 21 to 28 points per game after the 7th game of the season. And after that team, being Troy, is coming off a loss of 17 or more points. 33-7-1. Last 5 seasons, 85%. So I'm tempted to do that regardless of the quarterback situation or not, because you're getting paid to take the risk. Getting paid well.
Yeah, you sure are. So are you saying that money line?
What I would do is 80% using the spread, and then 20% of your bet on the money line. So if you're $100 better, 80 on the spread, 20 on the money line.
Interesting. Big Boss, any interest for you here with the Jaguars?
I've been to Noli's School of Unders, and I know Noli's out there watching. I get it. I totally get it, but guess what, Noli? It's going to be close. Despite what quarterback runs over there at South Alabama, they've been getting the bad end of the stick for a long time. But they're kind of a quality team, but they just haven't put it all together. But I found spots where Trotter was not firing like he should have in the pocket. So bringing in another quarterback could be a good thing for them. But I don't know what they got coming in right there. But Troy is also a little underrated as well. They play really good defense. And I see the contrast to where the under can play. Troy plays with good defense. South Alabama has a decent defense. They play well against Coastal Carolina. And even though it was an over, they as a whole, the defense still played well in that game. So here they're going to play a little lower ranking team in Troy. And I think the defenses have a battle with the offenses right there. But the question mark with South Alabama leans more towards our under than anything, and both teams can hold their own on the defensive side of the ball. So the under is definitely in play, but I think it's going to be too close of a nail biter for me. So I'm off.
Big
Ragoo, anything for you here in the Sun Belt?
It plays to both sides on the under. South Alabama scoring about 21 points a game on average, where Troy, they struggle to move the ball, period. They had their issues on the offensive side. So under would be a lean for me, but I actually like South Alabama better than the under, because Troy has trouble covering the spread on the road, and especially going into the favorite, even though they show an open at 1.5, sitting at 4. I think South Alabama is the side, so I'll probably get to the window with this one, plus the points here.
Let's move on to 2:30 p.m. spot here, and we have DJ Big Boss's Irish in play here, ranked number 2 in the country, 9-0, 8-0 in the ACC against Syracuse, 1-9, 1-8 in the ACC. And Notre Dame opening up as 33.5-point favorites. That's moved to 34, and there are 34.5s now on the board. They do come with plus money. Syracuse redshirt senior Rex Culpepper is expected to start in this game. He had been supplanted by Jacobian Morgan, the freshman, but he went down. Morgan went down with a injury, and then we saw Culpepper He probably played his best game, if anybody can remember anything other than him spiking the ball on fourth down like a complete ass clown. But he did go 23 of 45 for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns in that 36-29 loss. Notre Dame coming off a very impressive, very thorough 31-17 win at North Carolina, just shutting down an offense that's putting up 50-plus points often. And they're now huge favorites. What do we do with this spot, Big Boss, with your Irish as 34-point favorites?
You never take the Irish plus 34 points. I can tell you that. 34 is really high. I've seen some really – the line setters are really off on Notre Dame. Last week they had the 69 as the total, and that fell well under that. Here they go with 34. I told you that if Notre Dame is up by 20 points in the first half, in the second half they're going to start the second and third team. That's just how we roll. The back door is always open, especially when we're up early. I don't know. Book needs the rest, to tell you the truth. He got a lot coming up. He don't need to be out there overextending himself in this team. So I would go ahead and take Syracuse plus the points. I'm really mad at the total, though. This was another one of those weird games where you got a low total and a high spread. So, how do we get it over 34 and under 51? So I'm going to be off of the total. I'm just going to put a little something on Syracuse plus the points. Nothing major, because Book early in the year, we was in a spot like this, and I think we were favored by 29, and I was like, no way, and Book covered that 29. But it was early. He had a point to prove in that game. He needed to get that off his chest. Right here, I think Kelly wants to reserve him a little. He doesn't need to be running as much as we like for him to stick his nose in it and run the ball. He doesn't need to be running in this one. He needs to be handing the ball, let the team win the game on the ground. We got enough running backs and blocking to do so. So no big deal in this game. Just go ahead and take the points and collect the money.
Take the points and collect the money. Big Ragoo, what do you think of backing the orange?
Like DJ said, he's in my brain today. So with Notre Dame, they love to pound the rock, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to do so. Syracuse yields more than 200 yards per game on the ground, so that means they're going to work the clock. What's the clock mean? Most times less points and unders, but with that big number, Notre Dame, when they're favored by 15 or more, they're like 1-4 ATS. And they average like 250 yards on the ground in those games. So this is a perfect spot to take the plus 33.5.
John Ryan, what do you think of the boys on this big dog?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you, Syracuse is not a good team. They're getting outscored by double digits. Notre Dame in the past, when they play against a team like Syracuse, they've gone 11-1 to the under. So I don't have a bet on this game, but if you forced me to, I would put a little sprinkle on the under. But that's hard too, because the final score is implied to be 43-8. So what's the team total for Syracuse if there is one? I would take the over on that just for the sake of taking the over. You can't score negative points.
Yeah, Ragoo, you were talking about possibly moving on. God, they're not putting up team totals yet for me. Why? You were interested in the under. Does that push you closer to that?
In this game here?
Yeah.
No. It plays to the under, I would think, I looked at the side because when I seen that huge number and what Notre Dame has done against the spread, when being big double digits, I was like, that automatically put me towards the Syracuse side. And Culpepper's not a bad quarterback. He had good numbers against NC State last week, so I don't think they're going to get too aggressive here. So being a big underdog, it's going to, they're expected to get beat up pretty bad. So, they'll probably play a little bit looser, I would say, and then not just try to make a fiasco out of it. And Notre Dame, they're going to run. So I would take the points. You need better than 5 touchdowns to lose here, but can it happen? Sure it could. It's football, man.
Hey, Jimmy, I got to mention this one quick thing. Notre Dame, since 2010, has been favored by 30 or more points 3 times. The last time it was Bowling Green last year. What is Bowling Green doing on their schedule? I hope my database is right.
It's a short.
They were 45.5-point favorites and won the game 52-zip. It was 35-0 at half, and then it was 17-0 in the second half. Point being, that if they do get out to a big lead, like DJ said, it does make sense that they would call off the dogs and not get anybody hurt. So that's something to look for, for a second half bet.
Very quickly, Birdie has a question for you, Big Boss. Do you think Notre Dame first half is a play?
If you want to back Notre Dame, then yeah, catch them at the shortest line you can catch them, because us Catholic schools, we're not here to beat the brains out of people. So if you can catch them on the shortest line, catch them on the shortest line. Take them first quarter, first half, however you could do it. But if you like me, just go ahead and sit and be patient for the second half and watch the back door open.
Move on to a 3 p.m. spot, just another bum fight. And I don't know why I've been having trouble sleeping, shooting these late NCAA basketball videos. But I've just got the first bum fight I really saw, 13th birthday, downtown Vancouver, Granville Street. Two women just kicking the shit out of each other, kicking each other in the face. And one ripped the hair of the black woman, and it was a wig, and she had a shaved head. And, I was on acid and just fucking exploded.
Did you tweet it?
Whoa!
I remember I needed somebody gave me some blueberry bubble gum and told me to go for a walk.
Wow!
And it worked. I felt great. Okay, Louisiana Monroe 0-9, 0-6 in the Sun Belt. Arkansas State 3-7, 1-6 in the Sun Belt. Louisiana Monroe coming off a 70-20 ass kicking from the Raging Cajuns. Arkansas State coming off their fifth straight loss. 38-31 at home to South Alabama. Arkansas State freshman running back Lincoln Pear, elbow injury out for the remainder of the season, and he was flourishing. He was playing very, very well. And we can just roll past this spot, but, bum fight. I want to hear what Big Boss has to say about it. Louisiana Monroe, Arkansas State, anything for you?
I would take Arkansas State big time on there. They have a lot of seniors on that team, and they're getting down towards the last games of their career for a lot of them, and they're going to play their little hearts out.
Their little hearts out. That sounds like a Hallmark card. Ragoo, anything for you here?
0-6 versus 1-6. I don't think Arkansas State is as bad as the 1-6 indicates, but we know LA Monroe is probably a worser team, if that's even a word. Bowling Green and Akron, they're bottom barrel. Are they 21 points more bottom barrel? I don't know. It's Arkansas. I think Arkansas State can cover it here. I'm not getting to the window with it, but I could see Arkansas putting up maybe a team total look here would be better on this game if you have that. I think Arkansas State will put up 50 points. So if you get short of 50, bet Arkansas State on the team total.
If that's the case, I mean, isn't the I guess the over's up to 71. John Ryan, anything for you on this spot?
No, Arkansas State off a home loss is 11-1 against the spread. That's just kind of fluff metric. It really doesn't have any correlation or predictive value, but they are 11-1 off a home loss. I'm off the game.
Let's move to 3:30 p.m. action, and we can speak through some of these spots here. This might not be one we want to, though. ACC action, Boston College at Virginia. Boston College 6-4, 5-4 in the ACC at Virginia, 4-4, 3-4 in the ACC. Boston College coming off their second win in 3 games, 34-27 win at home over Louisville. And Phil Jurkovich is expected to play. I know he's been dealing with a knee injury. Knocked him out of last week's game against the second half of the game against Louisville. Virginia coming off third straight win, 55-15 walkthrough over Abilene Christian. ACC action, Ragoo, anything for you here at Boston College, Virginia?
This should probably be a pretty good game to watch. Jurkovich, he's turned out to be a nice little quarterback for these guys. They kind of gotten away from more or less the run solid team that they are. They've had some issues there, putting the ball on the ground, not fumbling the ball, but actually getting the running game established. But the Cavaliers, they have the worst pass defense in the ACC. Surprisingly enough. So I think Jurkovich might have a little success here putting the ball up in the air, but Virginia's got a 3-game winning streak going, and they're playing not too bad. They do play a well-balanced game. This is going to be a good one to watch. I'm not going to play it. I think it's going to be probably maybe look to the over possibly, but maybe they hit like 60 points. I know it's like in the middle 50s, maybe like 34-30 type game.
big move towards Boston College. Virginia opened up a 6.5-point favorite. It's now 3.5. Big Boss, anything for you here?
I don't know. I think a game could come down to a field goal on this one. So the 3, 4, 3.5. I don't know. It's too much to play with. So I'm off.
We have Noli Knows joining us, which is good because we're about to come into that Florida Tennessee under that he was interested in. John Ryan, anything for you here in Knoxville?
Well, it's a lean to Virginia. They've won 3 in a row. They've covered 4 in a row. I don't think the market has actually caught up to where the team is. I mean, you still get value taking Virginia. Head coach Mendenhall is 8-1 for 89% after scoring 24 more points in the first half of the last game. And again, 24 points in the first half. I mean, that's pretty good performance, and that carries over. So I would have a lean on Virginia.
Down to 3.5, that does seem like a reasonable opportunity. Move to the Knoxville spot. Sorry, Florida, Tennessee in the SEC. And under, also we were interested in a team total under for Tennessee. Florida coming off 5th straight win, 34-10 at home over Kentucky. Trask, 21-27, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. They all went to Kyle Pitts. After opening the season with 2 wins, Tennessee's lost 5 straight. Most recently, they lost 30-17 to Auburn. They scored just 20.1 points per game while putting up just 339.3 yards per game. Tennessee freshman quarterback Harrison Bailey will definitely play, says Pruitt. Florida, Tennessee, Ragoo, any interest here?
Both of these teams are pulling at my heartstrings because, number one, I can't stand the Gators, but they're right up the street from me. I backed Tennessee early in the year on a huge, not a huge bet, but a huge odds bet, like 100 to 1 to win the national championship. But I did also take the Gators plus 600 to win the SEC, so I'm happy about that. But Trask is having a season and a half. Pitts is back. He's got some weapons all over the field. There's nobody better putting the ball downfield than the Gators. But the Gators, they scare me on the defensive side. That's the only issue they're going to have going forward. How are they going to stop? In the big games, are they going to be able to step up and play defense? In Tennessee, Guarantano, that whole team has been disarrayed on his behalf. He's had his issues, with the turnovers and getting production there. So I think Tennessee, they're going to be up against it in this spot here. It's definitely Gators a pass. Tennessee's got a lot of issues going on.
Let's try and roll through a couple of these games. It's quick. I know they're big games, but anything for you here, boss? Florida, Tennessee?
Gators a pass. I really like what the quarterback's doing over there. So if I were to play it, I'd hope he have a good game.
This Tennessee team totals at 21.5, and there was interest in the under. It's gone up to 63. Anything for you, John?
Yeah, you all better be sitting down because I want you to write down, Jimmy, money line, Tennessee, sprinkle, not a regular bet. But here's why. This system has gone 68-70, losing record, but it's the money line. It's averaged a wager of plus 320. The $100 bettor has profited almost $7,000 over the last 5 seasons following this one simple system. And you're going to play against road teams in a conference matchup that have 5 consecutive wins. That's it. So I just want to sprinkle on the money line, which has to be probably 10, 11 to 1, just in case.
Wow. Exciting.
Good luck to Harrison Bailey today.
Exciting. And you guys, why don't we just ask, Ragoo, Noli had interest in this under. John had spoken. You do? Because I
can see like Florida winning by double digits, and Tennessee maybe putting up like say 17 to 20 points. Maybe Florida wins, by two scores. I don't think I'm scared to cover the number with the Gators. I know what is it sitting at right now? 17 and a half. So if Tennessee puts up 17 or 20 points, that can put the Gators at double up spot there. And they still stay under. So, yeah, I would lean under before I'd play the Gators.
This was another Noli knows under West Virginia, Iowa State. I got in on it at 48.5. It's now 48 or 47.5 here. Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. And John Ryan was going back to the Iowa State and that has moved. They were -7 early in the week. Now they've gone all the way down to -5. Iowa State coming off their 4th straight win, 23-20 at Texas, outscoring opponents by an average of 10.1 points per game. West Virginia was last seen 2 weeks ago defeating TCU at home 24-6. they had last week's game postponed due to positive COVID cases in the student program, not in West Virginia program. John, are you still moving on Iowa State and not concerned by the market move towards West Virginia?
Not concerned in the least. I like it even more. I think the underwriting theme here is that Iowa State, if they make it to the conference championship, will be the first time in 108 years. And if that's not bulletin board material for a head coach to use this last couple of weeks, then I don't know what is. I think they come out of the gate and just throttle them.
Wow.
Very interesting. Big Boss, anything to add?
Absolutely. This is one of my games I was really interested in when I was doing my defensive search. West Virginia was pinging big time on defense. So them getting plus 7 points was something I had to take a look at. When I broke it down, and I grade the offenses and the defense, it's A's all over the place. I got an A+ for Iowa State's offense. They're rushing 195 yards a game, passing 241. I got an A for them on defense. Although would have been an A+, but they're giving up 63% completion ratio on defense, and they also giving up 237 a game on defense. And then as for West Virginia, the problem over there is their offense. Their offense is ranked number 86. They're doing 284 in the air, which plays in their favor against this Iowa State team, who the only part they really lack on defense is on the passing side of the ball. And then on defense, this West Virginia's team over here, ranked number 17, defense gets an A+, only giving up 283 yards a game, 165 passing yards. They got 22 sacks for the season so far, 10 interceptions. So the West Virginia defense looked great, but the thing that really called me off on the side was the coaching matchup. So you got Neil Brown, second year right here with Iowa, and he lost to with West Virginia, and he lost to Iowa State the last time they met up against Matt Campbell. He's in the 5th year, kind of knows a little bit how things go. We late in the season right here. He has the edge as far as the coaching matchup in this game. So kind of scared to take that number. 7 sometimes can just be baiting you in for something you're not even expecting. So I jumped after looking at the number. I jumped from the side and I fell on the total. So I'm going to take the over in this one. Although both teams can play some good defense, they do find ways to score. And I think in this game right here, they go a little over the total. The total set a little bit low. I think it's going to be a tough one, but it gets over to like 56 or something like that. I'm hoping for an overtime or something in this one. It's going to be a nice game to watch right here.
Interesting. Ragoo, anything to add? I'd like to speed this up a bit.
Yeah, well, real quick, Iowa State, they're more than likely they're going to be in the Big 12 championship game, so they're probably going to try to use this as an example, or a springboard game to kind of, carry some momentum forward. They play a lot of close games. They play good up front on the offensive line. West Virginia's got probably the best. They got the top passing defense in the nation, surprisingly enough. So, but I think the coaching between the coaching angles, like DJ says, Matt Campbell, he won't be. I guarantee he won't be coaching at Iowa State next year. He's going to be either in the pros or a bigger university. So I'm staying off the game.
Let's just see if we can kind of roll really quick kind of one-liners here to get into some of the late games. We have Indiana at Wisconsin. This total that we talked about making a move on the under 47 is all the way down to 44.5. But, John, you also had interest in the Indiana team total over in this spot, and that's 14.5 at plus 110 at my book. I know that Penix is out, but you were thinking that would be overused by the betting public. I don't know if that's the right term for it. John Ryan, are you still interested in that Indiana team total over?
Yeah, I am. The backup, whose name escapes me, he's actually a 4, basically like a 4.5 star recruit. When he's played, he has looked good. He has a cannon of an arm. I think even if Wisconsin covers the spread, I think there's a tendency here for both teams to exceed their team totals. So if you wanted to play a parlay, Wisconsin and over, and then add the team total for Indiana, I think that's pretty smart.
But you don't think Indiana is worth it at plus 13?
I do.
You do?
I mean, no, not on the line anymore. Just the team total.
Team total. Okay. Anything to add, Big Boss, very quickly?
Man, give me Indiana twice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Woo.
Wow. Ragoo, anything for you?
Tuttle steps in today, slings the ball around the yard. They're not going to run the ball. They're going to have to put it through the air. So if you like the pass, you think they can have success downfield, take Indiana.
We talked about Utah, Tuttle in that, because he was supposedly the best recruit in Utah history before he moved over.
That's right. Yeah.
To Indiana. Okay, so then we have Iowa, Illinois. Let's be very quickly here. Iowa, you're being bullish on them, John Ryan, and you continue to be in this spot?
Yeah, I think Iowa here, just like I said on Monday, will cover the spread here by 7 and win going away. They have too much on the line here. They're flying under the radar. They actually could be the team in the championship game if certain things go their way. So they're not going to slip up against Illinois.
And you had some interest in that team total under for Illinois?
Yeah, I would rather play Iowa at this point with the line instead of the team total.
Okay, anything to add, Big Boss?
In this ignorant Big Ten, this is a spot where they beat up on each other, and Illinois messes around and mess up Iowa season. But I'm off because Giant Ryan is laying the wood, and I'm staying away, keeping my hands out my face.
Ragoo, anything for you?
Yeah, Iowa run defense too strong here. The offensive line is really good, so better trench game for Iowa. They get to the number. They get it done.
Then we have Tulsa Navy here, and John, you had interest in Tulsa. Did that continue throughout the week?
Yeah, that's the side I'm on. Again, that's just a light bet. I always say powder for the in-game because I was a trader. I still am a trader in the markets, and I just love playing the in-game because it brings out my instincts. And you go against the trends. An underdog. If you're playing a favorite and an underdog gets out to the lead, it doesn't mean that the favorite now sucks because they fell behind and it makes you feel dumb that you didn't call it right. I mean, it's a 60-minute game. So take advantage of being able to lower the average line of your bet whenever you can. It's like free money.
Oh, agreed. Anything to add, Boss or Ragoo?
Nothing for me.
Take Navy plus the points.
Oh, wow. Other side for Ragoo on Navy plus points. Okay. Ragoo, you gave out Georgia Tech in our chat on Monday, and I followed with you. I jumped on that with you, Georgia Tech plus 7. Plus 7 or 7.5. I have to look now at my bet. It's now 6.5. Do you want to explain why you're on Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I like Georgia Tech because I think they're going to control the clock and keep it close. I think they're going to have more opportunities to put points on the board than NC State, and their ground game is a little better. NC State has played well of late, but I think this game sets up good. Off of that big offensive effort coming in. I'm not going to say they roll or possibly maybe win the game outright, but I think they keep it close. Closer than the number is going to indicate. I got it like a 3 or 4 point game, but they can win the game also. But I'm not betting the money line. I'm just taking plus. I'm already on it plus the 7.5.
We also have a spot in the Pac-12, Stanford at number 23, Washington. Any of you guys making moves on it?
I'm not.
No.
Be careful taking Pac-12 games late. The refs they have their own rules.
Now we get to this very exciting spot, BYU, Coastal Carolina. Bad news that Coastal Carolina's freshman star quarterback's out with COVID. This was a really exciting spot here in Conway, South Carolina that a little bit of the luster's off of it. Big Ragoo, BYU here is sitting as 10.5 or 10-point favorites. This total's gone 59-62. Even with this star freshman quarterback out. Any interest for you here, Big Ragoo, BYU, Coastal Carolina?
No, if it was a touchdown, I'd get involved either way, but 10 points. And then with Coastal, having the quarterback issue, it's a pass for me. This is an IPA game.
Big Boss, any interest for you?
Man, I got a first ever pick to give out on this game, and I never give second half picks, but I think this is how I see this game. These two teams don't normally see each other, and that's a problem because Coastal Carolina has been known to win when they play teams as they used to struggle in the conference, not out of conference. So Coastal Carolina kind of leans right there, but they're playing a team like BYU. We know the thing about BYU and the older players and all those kind of logistics involved with that. So it's going to be difficult in the first half to really nail what side to be on in this game. BYU could come in and just take off because that's what they've been doing. They have a high potent offense. The whole thing with McCall going down is not to really alert anything. This has happened before. He set out before and they did well. Coastal Carolina can actually play some good defense at times, so it could come down to their defense stepping up while the quarterback is not playing. So I can make arguments for both sides in the first half, but one thing I know for sure in this game is that college football halftime adjustments matter. So whatever you're doing in the first half, if you on the over, second half under. If you on BYU first half, take Coastal Carolina second half. Just look for twisting the pick in the second half, because the main key of the whole game is going to be the adjustments that they make at halftime. And I'm out.
So also some interest in this under as well. So BYU and the under sort of being looked at right now. John Ryan, anything for you to add?
I like that chat room statement that was just made that BYU's players are older than the coaches. That's pretty damn funny. It's easy to look at this game and look at the size of the BYU players and the advantage they have physically at the line of scrimmage. But I'm here to tell you, there's been 14 games in NCAA history dating back to 1990 where two teams faced each other with 9 wins each exact and a line that was a double-digit favorite. BYU in this situation fits this trend, and these teams have gone 5-9 against the number for just 35% winning bets. So I would be real careful in this spot because it's common sense to think that BYU is just going to overpower them over 60 minutes. So I can't wait to watch the game, and I actually hope Coastal Carolina wins with their youthful coaches.
Yeah. Next up, we have 6 p.m. action, and we can just move past the Florida Atlantic, Georgia Southern. 2 great defenses here. This total at 42. Florida Atlantic, Georgia Southern. Any interest for any of you guys?
Not for me.
I'm off.
I like FAU.
You like FAU in this spot?
Yeah, I think Taggart stepped into a good spot. You know, when Kiffin left, he's got some pretty good talent. And like you say, the defensive wise, they're outstanding, surprisingly enough. And with all the stuff with COVID and everything, I'm really surprised how his team's endured. And I think it's a good spot for them. I know some of the sharper money's on Georgia Southern, but I tend to be I'll be more of a square with the public on this side. I like FAU here.
FAU allowing just 11.2 points per game. All right, let's go to a Mountain West spot here. San Jose State at Hawaii. San Jose State 4-0 in the Mountain West. Hawaii 3-3, 3-3 in the Mountain West. San Jose State coming off their 4th straight win to start the season, 34-17 at home over a UNLV squad that's, was decimated by COVID. Hawaii coming off its most impressive win of the season, 24-21 at home over Nevada. A very interesting spot here that I may want to attack. So I want to hear a breakdown here in Mountain West. A Mountain West where DJ Big Boss does it best. San Jose State opening up as 1-point favorites. They're now 2.5-point favorites, and their total's gone 59.5 to 60. Any interest for you, DJ Big Boss?
Can't really find the edge in this one right here. Everybody's on San Jose State, but I got to stick to my grid and my rule. You got to be careful with Hawaii on the island. The trick to the whole thing on this one is it goes off a lot earlier, so it's not like they have to go play in the midnight. But if you like San Jose State, they're tuned up. Coach got them going in the right direction. You're not wrong by taking them, but if Hawaii beats you on the island, you just chalk it up to the game. But I'm off this game.
Anything for you guys, John, Ryan?
I'm actually off the game too, Jimmy. I wish I had something to say.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm off too. But here's the thing: Hawaii's won 4 in a row. The road team is 5-2 straight up and 6-1 ATS.
All right. Next up, we have Colorado, Arizona. I know this is 7 p.m. Eastern, and John Ryan was very interested in Colorado on our Monday show. Colorado opening up a 7-point favorite. It's now 7.5 or 8. It's total on 56.5 to 57.5. This is Arizona Stadium, Tucson, Arizona, 55 Fahrenheit, clear 7 miles per hour. Colorado opening the year 3-0, 2-0 in the Pac-12. Arizona's lost 3 games in the Pac-12. Colorado coming off their 3rd straight win to start the season, 2010 at home over San Diego State. Arizona coming off their 3rd straight loss to open the season, 27-10 at UCLA. Sophomore quarterback Grant Gunnell is looking like a game-time decision. He has a shoulder injury. He was injured on the first play of the game against UCLA. John, are you still interested in Colorado?
I am, for the same reasons as Monday. Colorado controls the tempo of the game. They average more than 32 minutes per game, and Arizona does not do well against teams historically that control the line of scrimmage, control the clock. In fact, they're 3-13 against the spread against those types of teams. So, yeah, I'm still liking Colorado quite a bit.
Still liking Colorado quite a bit. Big Boss, Colorado, Arizona.
Man, I too much recency bias for me. I watched that San Diego State and Colorado game. That was a hard-hitting defensive battle, and I would be way too much recency bias to jump in this game, and I would back John Ryan with Colorado.
Big Ragoo, Colorado, Arizona.
Surprise team with this rebuilding year for Colorado, 3-0. Like John says, they do very well controlling the clock. I can't give you the numbers on Arizona against the teams like he did, so thanks for that. But it's Colorado a pass here, maybe a two-score victory.
Yeah, interesting. They are a strong squad. All right, Colorado or pass there. Then I would like to skip a couple of these games quickly because there's only a couple more games we do want to hit. Anyone making a move on Oregon? Oh, sorry, I know, and I followed him. Sorry, Ragoo moved on Oregon. Oregon at -10. That's from our Monday show. Oregon -10. They're now -9.5 or -9. Ragoo, you want to break down why you're on Oregon here?
Yeah, I think this is a good bounce back spot for them coming off of Oregon State loss. You know, that was, I'm not gonna say a shocker, but you know, their problem is on the defensive side right now. But Cal, I don't think Cal has enough offense, you know, to kind of overcome the weakness of the Oregon defense. But I think offensively, Oregon is multi-talented, and Cal, you know, they're pretty good on defense too. But this is going to be a trench game. But I think Oregon's offense is going to outshine the Cal defense, and I think they'll clean up some stuff on the defensive side to kind of keep Cal's offense in check. So even though I'm going contrarian here, I think the sharper money's coming in on Oregon, and I'm going to back that side.
Anything to add, Big Boss John Ryan, on this Oregon spot?
No, the only thing, I looked at the game earlier this week, and I want to see if I'm right about Oregon not being as good as we thought. And obviously, if California would upset them, that would confirm it, because Oregon did look pretty piss poor in the last game. So I'm on the sidelines to see what new information comes out of it.
Big Boss, anything for you here in the Pac-12?
I would definitely back Oregon this one. Oregon is, like somebody said in the chat last week, I said flustered and frustrated at the same time. So Oregon is flustered and frustrated after that loss against Oregon State. But that was a rival game, so you can't really hold that against them. They're going to try to put the wheels on the ground and roll up through Cal.
All right. Colorado State at San Diego State is an option, but there's a couple other games I'd prefer to spend time on. San Diego State opening up at -8.5, now 7.5 or 7. I know you know these teams very well. Big Boss, is there any move for you here? Colorado State being off due to COVID issue last November 12th.
It's the same thing with too much recency bias with the game last week against Colorado with San Diego State. The offense really played really poor. I couldn't lay 7 with San Diego State this week, even though they're playing Mountain West now, and this Colorado's team should be one that they could beat. But if I had to lay it, I'd probably take the points and take Colorado State, because Pat O'Brien and them, you know, they've been kind of anxious sitting on the side of the road. They might get in there and get the ball around. But San Diego State defense is awesome, but that offense is piss poor.
And San Diego State redshirt senior Greg Bell, it's questionable. He came out against so hot. He was rolling. He's forced to miss last Saturday's game against Colorado, and he's very much in doubt to play here. Okay, let's talk about this spot here. We have number 4 ranked Clemson, -21.5 point favorites at the Bet365 opener. That's moved to 22. The total is sitting at 67. ACC battle here. Clemson 8-1, 7-1 in ACC. Virginia Tech 4-5, 4-4 in ACC. Both teams coming off of games against Pittsburgh. Clemson 52-17 win at home over Pittsburgh with Trevor Lawrence back in action. Virginia Tech lost the week before 47-14 at Pitt. Clemson sophomore receiver Frank Ladson is considered day-to-day with a foot injury. He was injured in that 47-40 loss at Notre Dame. Hasn't played since. Clemson, Virginia Tech. We'll start with Big Ragoo. Any interest here?
No, but I'm interested in watching the game for sure. Trevor, I think the key to this game here is for them to cover the number, is for them to actually, get their running game going, which they have been struggling in that regard. But number 16 back on the field is helping them out immensely, even though, however you say ukulele, he's been doing pretty well. He kind of picked up the pace for him a little bit. But the key for the Hokies to do is to kind of keep themselves in the games. They also have to run the ball. They're 0-5 when they don't run for 260 yards. That might be a tough ask against Clemson, but we're not betting them to win. We're betting a number here. So 22 now, 21.5, 22. That's an uphill climb, I would think, going on the road to play in Blacksburg. So it's a pass for me. I'm not going to get involved with it.
A pass here. John Ryan, any interest for you in Clemson, Virginia Tech?
I'm a pass on the game. But just for, as they say, giggles, I would take like $25 and put it on the money line for Virginia Tech. Just in case. We haven't seen a big 20-point upset yet in college football, and we've had several of them actually each year the last 10 years. So you never know when they're going to happen, but why not take a stab at it just for the heck of it? Putting $5 on the money line just for shits and giggles is fun.
And Johnny Raff, by the way, saying that McCall is playing for Coastal Carolina today. McCall is playing for Coastal Carolina. It's just in. I thought he was out with COVID, but he is playing. All right, we are talking Clemson, Virginia. Any interest for you, DJ Big Boss?
John Ryan, send me that $5. I'll give you some shit and I'll make you giggle. But that ain't this Clemson team. I'm gonna back Clemson for the rest of the season. Sweeney is he's in his feelings a lot, and he's trying to get these guys angry and tuned up to take Notre Dame in the ACC championship. That's going to be one of the most important games at the end of the season to try to get them into the playoffs. So Clemson gotta be lighting the torch under their ass right now. So I think they got to win and win big. I'm taking Clemson every game up into Notre Dame, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do. But yeah, Clemson for sure. I'm gonna get to the window with that.
Backing Clemson here. All right, there's a couple more games I want to touch on. So can we skip? Is South Carolina, Kentucky is on at 7:30. South Carolina 11.5 point dogs. The total 46.5. Are any of you guys making moves on it?
No. Two teams struggling offensively. Maybe a lean to the under.
Then we have an 8 o'clock spot. Baylor against 13th ranked Oklahoma. Oklahoma opening up as 22-point favorites, not 21. This total at 61. Are any of you guys making moves on it?
I like Oklahoma to finish strong, but you never know over there.
Let's talk about the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide in action at 8 p.m. Eastern. They open up as 27.5 point favorites. That's moved to 29. The totals come from 67.5 to 65.5. I hear many handicappers bullish on Alabama in this spot. Alabama coming off a thorough 42-13 win at home over Auburn. They've allowed 16 points total over the last 3 games. LSU coming off 27 loss at Texas A&M. LSU freshman quarterback TJ Finley will start against Alabama on Saturday. Finley did not look good against Texas A&M. He completed 9 of 25 passes for 118 yards, 2 interceptions. But I thought Max Johnson looked worse, if that is possible. So I understand the move here. Senior fullback tight end Torrey Carter has been reinstated after he was suspended for the last week's game at Texas A&M. It was unclear why he was not playing, but he was suspended by the team, and he's going to be back. Alabama, LSU, SEC spot. John Ryan, any interest?
Well, here we have that double-digit underdog again that is cast to the curb and is very, very ugly. But I'm here to tell you, last year, 2019, in the SEC conference, there was 2 dogs of 20 or more points that won the game. The first one was in Week 7, South Carolina defeated Georgia as a 21.5 point road dog, 20-17. Vanderbilt beat Missouri as a 21 point underdog, 21-14. There was 19 20-point or more dogs in NCAA football in the 2019 season that won the game. And I assure you, you look at those games and it's an ugly dog. It's a dog with fleas, and even worse, it's something that even DJ wouldn't even play fetch with. So, again, I just caution people at this late part of the season to automatically assume that Alabama's just going to steamroll them, and they just might. But I'm just saying, just maybe a little. Don't think the game is won before it even starts.
Their quarterback plays look so weak.
It does. I mean, it's a crazy idea to even think about taking Tennessee in the points. But that would be my lean.
You don't even LSU because you did talk.
For LSU, I mean, yes.
Yeah. You did talk about interest in Tennessee. These big dogs John's interested in. Big Ragoo, Alabama, LSU. Anything for you?
I hate to take my foot off the gas with Bama here, but they kind of know that they're going to coast to the SEC championship game one way or the other. So do they give their best effort on this spot going into Death Valley, which normally under an 8 o'clock game would be like a hell-bent game to go against LSU, but given the circumstances and the way the Steelers kind of been screwed over, it's a pass for me. I'm not going to lay 29 with Bama, and I'm definitely not going to back LSU to where they're playing football right now.
DJ Big Boss, anything for you here, Alabama, LSU?
Hey, I did good last week laying the wood on a big number, and I'll do it again this week, but I'll take this Alabama team first half against LA and against LSU. I understand where we're coming from in the traditional year, like with what Big Ragoo was saying, but with this whole COVID thing, it's panic time. The toilet paper is running out. You got to go get as much as you can because you never know when you could be shut down for COVID. At this point, there's not enough room for makeup games for some teams. Teams like Clemson. Not in respect to Alabama, but I'm just saying teams like Clemson are sitting on the edge of their seat of being able to go in the playoffs because of not being able to play enough games because of the COVID. Teams like Alabama don't want to fall nowhere near in that track, and they've been shut down for COVID before too. So they got to kick ass frequently, and I'm gonna stay bullish with Alabama, but this time I'm gonna even take them on the first half.
Yeah, but whoever wins the SEC championship game is going to the dance, so it's either them or the Gators.
That's absolutely right there.
Yeah.
All right. That is a big spot coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. We've got to go to best bets now. But Miami, Duke, John Ryan, you were waiting on this spot. Did you end up pulling the trigger on Miami?
I'm gonna play Miami. I think my machine learning stuff says they cover by more than 7.5 points.
And do you guys
so that becomes an automatic play?
Do you guys think that Oregon State has a letdown here after that big win over Oregon? And do you think Utah at home, Utah opening the year 0-2 is a spot to look at?
I like that.
I'm interested in backing Utah at home here, but others aren't okay.
I think it's good for Utah in this spot.
And then we have UCLA, Arizona State. We just found out from the chat that Arizona State has suspended a couple defensive backs, and that UCLA is the choice here. UCLA 2-point dogs. Are any of you guys making moves on that?
I'm not making a move, but I would definitely back Arizona State. Kelly's got a real coach against him this time, so he can't really. He's been slipping and sliding away, and I think that they lay him straight in Arizona State because they play defense. I mean, a couple of DBs being out, DBs come a dime a dozen. They got some more back there. These guys are coached well, so I would side on the side of coaching, and they at home with Arizona State anywhere it go.
New Mexico has now down to their third string quarterback. Tuioti has been out with concussion symptoms for a month, but now they also have Trey Hall out due to a rib injury. So they're down to their third string quarterback. They're just a bad football team, but Wyoming as 10-point favorites on the road. It's something I actually want to back. I think New Mexico is terrible. Is that a mistake, Big Boss?
It could be, Jimmy, because when I was looking on defense again, some weird reason, New Mexico popped up for good rushing D, like top 50 rushing D. And I didn't go too far in it, but cause I've been getting burned with New Mexico lately. Anyhow, Wyoming's not a team that does well outside of Wyoming, but this year they did well in Colorado State. They did fine traveling. So, but I don't know. That's a lot of points to lay with a team that's revolves around their defense and running the ball. So I don't know. I'm off of that game in the Mountain West. But I do have a little sneaker. We passed Fresno State and Nevada in the Mountain West. And I think that we're going to put Nevada on upset alert right here because these two teams are way too similar when you line them up on the field. And believe it or not, Fresno State has a shot right here against Nevada at home. So take the 6 points with Fresno State.
Interesting. You guys were so incredible. This was the biggest card to date that we had to break down. Great job, all of you. Quickly, we got to go to best bets because I need to put in a couple bets on the 12 p.m. games. Let's go to best bets right now on the card. We will start with DJ Big Boss. Best bet on the card.
I'm gonna go with the best bet that I laid for the early morning spot, and that's gonna be the Rutgers plus the points. And then later on, I like Fresno State in the late spot. And of course, I'm taking Syracuse plus the points.
I love it. Big Ragoo, best bet.
I'm saying in the Big Ten action today, Ohio State first half and Indiana full game.
I love it. Best bet, John Ryan.
Under Nebraska, Tennessee plus the points, and Penn State.
Penn State. Okay, I got to get some action in. Absolutely great job from John Ryan, DJ Big Boss, Big Ragoo. Thank you, everybody who's watching, man. It's so much fun to break down this entire card, and that's what they just did in 2 hours. Spectacular. Dutch Boy Fresh, Momo Loco, Captain Trips, Steve, Nathan Cerna, Brooklyn Funk Project, Maury, Johnny Raff, Joe Chris, Noli Knows, Don Corleone, Nathan Cerna, The Real Jolly Roger, Guillermo Zertucci, all of you guys, thank you so much for your input, insights, humor, and latest injury information, everything. It was wonderful. I got to go. I got to make some moves. DJ Big Boss, you want to put a bow on this for us?
Hey, man, y'all have a good weekend, man. Stay safe. I don't know what you tell you. Get ready. Get some of this money so you can actually give your kids some gifts this year and not some excuses. But have a good one and leche!